try to do something that I've never done. Been reading this book, ScrewTape Letters. And it brings up, the book is fantastic. I've gone through it at least a half a dozen times. You should read it. I don't care who you are. It's a book worth reading. But something hit me this time while going through it, and actually just remembered a part of it and decided to go through it again while I was doing dishes over audio. And it hit harder listening to it a second time. So I'm going to read you some parts out of chapters 6 and 7. Really short. I'm not doing a whole audio book and bore you to death. I hope I can get through this without boring you to death. But it makes some sense to things going on in life today. So if you haven't read the ScrewTape Letters, it's a obviously fictional story from C.S. Lewis of a senior tempter, a demon, teaching another demon how to tempt his person that he's dealing with. And so he's going through the wars, World War I, World War II era, and he's walking him through stages of his life. And there's an interesting paragraph or two here. So it starts off, "My dear Wormwood, I am delighted to hear that your patient's age and profession make it possible, but by no means certain, that he will be called to military service. We want him to be filled with the maximum uncertainty, so his mind will be filled with contradictory pictures of the future, every one of which arouses hope or fear. There is nothing like suspense and anxiety for barricading a human's mind against the enemy." And of course, in the ScrewTape, the enemy is God. So it's backwards from how most people speak nowadays. "He wants men to be concerned with what they do. Our business is to keep them thinking about what will happen to them." And when you think about going through the pandemic that we've been going through, everybody's worried about what will happen to them. But it gets so much better. Let's go on to the next chapter. Another paragraph, about halfway into the next chapter. "The dryness and dullness through which your patient is now going are not, as you fondly suppose, your workmanship. They are merely a natural phenomenon which will do us no good unless you make good of it. He relies on the troughs even more than the peaks. Some of his special favorites have gone through longer and deeper troughs than anyone else." You can go into any biblical time and find evidence of that. "He leaves the creatures to stand up on its own legs, to carry out from the will alone duties which have lost all relish. It is during such tough periods, much more than the peak periods, that it is growing into the sort of creature he wants it to be." So you think about that. He uses the troughs more than the peaks. And through this pandemic, I've been seeing so many people putting parallels together of, it's end times and here's the signs. And people have been doing that since the dawn of history. And I would encourage anybody to be very careful. In the Bible it states, if you are a false prophet and you make false prophecies and they're proven to be wrong, you should be killed. I remember when the Mayan calendar ended or whatever, there was mass suicides because everybody thought the world was ending. You can guess, you can assume, you can have your own theories, you can talk amongst people, but don't predict things because you don't know. And C.S. Lewis points out very well That the hard times are not signs of the end, it's the signs where God can actually turn you into who He wants you to be. Remember, my old pastor always said, you can't have a testimony without a test. That's what we're doing right now. We're going through a huge test for our generation. But if you look into the past, even just the past of our country, this isn't that bad. Even the political divide right now, as horrible as it is, every couple decades this happens. I think it's important to put things in perspective best we can. And I really like the way this looks at it from the other point of view of uncertainty is where, the devil wants to keep us. And I don't want to get into this whole we're in a spiritual war, but I don't like talking about it like that, because then you get into really weird stuff that I'm not on board with. Some of it I am, some of it I'm not, but that's not the point of all this. The point of this is, what kind of person are you going to be? Maybe you don't even believe in God. That's up to you. I can't make you, and I'm sure no points I'm going to point out will change your mind over a video. I would encourage you to start conversation, not trying to disprove my beliefs, just to have conversation. Zig Ziglar says you can't make anybody change their mind. All you can do is get them to make a new decision based off of new information. That's the whole point of my videos, is I want to have new information. I want to talk about new things. The times we're going through are hard, and they're scary. And they're either going to crumble us if we let them, or we will come out the other end victorious. Keep in mind, there's never been anything life has ever thrown at you that you have not survived. But it's important to look at the big picture best you can. Do some reading. I hate reading. I don't like doing it at all, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks to get information from a lot of other places. I don't remember who said it. Please comment, because I really want to know. I can't remember. But it said, he who does not read has no advantage over he who can't. But that was my whole thing, my whole rant. Like, comment, subscribe if you are willing. I don't do a lot of videos. You're not just going to get hit with a video every 3 hours that I posted something new. I do have a TikTok now. Probably post more videos there because they're short and easy and no editing to do. But just think about perspective. All right. And stay safe. Remember, you're not alone.